So you've been told you have, quote-unquote, severe trust issues, right? People say you put walls up way too quickly, or that you're just impossible to get close to. Well, if that sounds like your life, you are in exactly the right place. In today's explainer, we're really going to unpack the hidden psychology behind these behaviors. Let's just dive right into this, because what society so often labels as a massive flaw is actually a fascinating, highly complex psychological defense mechanism. Welcome to the architecture of betrayal sensitivity.
Think about this for a second. Do you find yourself instantly pulling away from someone the very second their behavior becomes even slightly inconsistent? Like maybe a friend takes 3 hours to text back instead of their usual 3 minutes, and suddenly your brain is just spinning, deeply questioning their intentions over that tiny shift. Most people might tell you that you just run away too easily. They might even make you feel like your reactions are totally out of proportion. But is that actually what's happening?
We really need to completely reframe this whole myth of paranoia. Society loves to judge this, right? People will call you paranoid or say you have these severe trust issues, but psychology reveals a completely different reality about your mind. You aren't just being paranoid. Your brain is actually utilizing advanced predictive processing to protect you from a threat, literally before it even has the chance to happen. It is a highly sophisticated biological anticipation, not some kind of character defect.
All right, Section 1. Defining betrayal sensitivity.
So what does this actually mean? Well, betrayal sensitivity is basically a state where your brain becomes incredibly almost hyper-alert to possible harm. And this doesn't just happen out of nowhere, right? It happens after an experience of deep betrayal from people you once totally trusted. That devastating experience completely rewires how you view future relationships. Your brain essentially goes into overdrive. It literally makes its primary mission to ensure that you are never, ever caught off guard again. If this sounds exactly like your lived experience, it's because this is a documented biological response. It's not just an overreaction.
Moving on to Section 2, Signs 1 and 2. Let's kick things off with the very first sign.
Sign number 1 is this absolute hyper-awareness of social signals. You see, you don't just casually chat with people. You've developed this heightened sensory processing. It allows you to pick up on these incredibly subtle shifts in tone, minute changes in body language, and fleeting micro-expressions that, honestly, everyone else completely misses. When someone's behavior changes even a fraction of an inch, you don't just brush it off. No way. You instantly connect it to their past behavior. Psychology calls this strong pattern recognition, but really, you've essentially just become a human lie detector. You're constantly connecting the dots.
And because of that intense pattern recognition, your internal monologue is just constantly running in the background asking, okay, so what does this mean next? Your mind is perpetually analyzing all the data it gathers, always anticipating that next step. This little background program basically forces you to expect problems long before they actually happen. It's exhausting for sure, but it's an incredibly effective early warning system.
Which naturally brings us right to sign number 2.
Sign number 2 is a highly protective trust threshold. Psychology shows us that people who have gone through profound betrayal or maybe experienced childhood neglect have past experiences that make them extremely cautious. Once your trust has been broken at such a fundamental level, your brain just becomes incredibly protective and incredibly selective. You don't just let people into your life simply because they seem nice on the surface. You think twice, or honestly maybe 100 times, before giving someone a VIP pass to your inner life. Why? Because you know exactly how much it costs to let the wrong person in. You've paid that massive price before, and you flat out refuse to pay it again.
All right, Section 3, Signs 3 and 4.
Here is sign number 3.
This one is all about subconsciously lowering your expectations of others. When someone has disappointed you over and over in the past, trusting new people becomes, well, incredibly difficult. So how does your mind handle this? It starts lowering expectations as a subconscious defense mechanism. By creating this emotional distance right from the get-go, you significantly reduce the chance of being hurt again. It just helps you stay emotionally steady. The logic is actually pretty simple. If someone does let you down, you're already prepared for it, and the blow isn't nearly as devastating as it would have been if you had fully hoped for the best.
And rolling right into sign number 4.
Sign number 4 is the tendency to create sudden distance the exact moment you sense a red flag. Look at how lightning fast this process is. First, you sense slightly inconsistent behavior. Second, boom, that instantly triggers your pattern recognition. And third, you create distance to protect your peace. Now, most people assume that cutting others off like this is arrogant or cold or avoidant, but psychology shows something so much deeper.
Because your brain is so unbelievably alert to possible harm after past trauma, cutting people off can feel like the absolute safest way to avoid being hurt again. You aren't removing them because you hate them. You are executing a rapid psychological escalation because your brain is desperately trying to prevent history from repeating itself.
Section 4. Our fifth and final sign, cautious empathy.
Let's break down this last one. Sign number 5 is that you are highly empathetic, but you are extremely careful with that empathy. Going through early hardship or intense betrayal dramatically increases your emotional awareness. Because of this, you read people incredibly well. I mean, you can sense emotional shifts in a room almost instantly. However, because you're a betrayal sensitivity, you are super cautious with your trust. You don't just freely give your empathy away to anyone who asks for it. Instead, you use your deep understanding of human emotions as a protective radar. It's a tool to survey the landscape and shield yourself from getting hurt again, rather than just a tool for uninhibited connection.
And finally, Section 5, your greatest strength. The absolute most crucial takeaway here is this: you are not broken. The next time someone accuses you of pushing people away or being way too guarded, please remember what we've covered in this explainer today. Your trust issues are not a flaw. You simply possess a brilliant, highly observant mind. Your brain learned how to protect your heart when others totally failed to do so. Your sensitivity to betrayal, your predictive processing, your pattern recognition, these are all part of a powerful survival skill that kept you safe when you needed it the most.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. How will you turn your unique wiring into your absolute greatest strength? Now that you understand that your mind is utilizing advanced predictive processing rather than just silly paranoia, you actually have a choice. You can view it as a burden, or you can recognize it as an incredibly sharp tool, a radar that, when managed with real self-awareness, can guide you toward truly safe and authentic connections. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If this helped you finally understand your amazing, unique mind, take this knowledge, respect your boundaries, and start leveraging your brilliant wiring to your advantage. Catch you next time.